guys, I am here with rubbish lighting and rubbish enthusiasm. I literally have had a crazy busy day. It's been a busy day for Chris. He graduated off from a course and it was only half the day, but it completely took it out of me and I ended up sleeping. We came back and I ended up sleeping for an hour before we went to collect Sebastian. Our face and makeup looking a bit bleh. My 38-week update. But this week, as you can probably hear from my voice and my general lack of enthusiasm, has been really difficult. This pregnancy has been so much harder than Sebastian's. I am incredibly uncomfortable at this stage and it's been very difficult parenting him. I'm really grateful that he's still at nursery and we're still kind of able to financially afford that. I've been really grateful for that time. So this week I just feel really uncomfortable. I'm feeling like I can feel a head down there. It's pressing on my bladder every 5 minutes. I might go, oh, and it feels like I need to wee, but I don't because it's just a head or a hand or whatever. I've also since found out I've got a crack in the top of my rib up here. I do have osteopenia, which is, and some osteoporosis in parts of my spine. I need to have another DEXA scan to find out about how that may have progressed, but at the time of a few years ago when I had my last DEXA scan I had osteopenia all around my ribs, so that might be why, because my bones are a little bit softer than they should be. This had happened with Sebastian, and I think in my vlogs then I did talk about how I had had a scan done because they thought it was my pancreas and it turned out it wasn't that. They didn't x-ray my ribs, but it turns out this time it is just a little hairline crack in my rib and it's very painful. So sleeping's been difficult and just generally being comfortable. Today we were doing quite a lot of standing around and sitting down, but it really took it out of me. It wasn't a particularly energetic day, but there was points like on the way back. Chris works, the equivalent is only 20 minutes away, but it takes about, and it can take up to an hour to get home. And I ended up, the journey was just hell, and I ended up kind of the other way around in the car, kind of with my hands on the back of the car, of the seat, and on my, but kind of like on my hands and knees, because it was the only way I could just get comfortable. So I'm starting to get really desperate for him to come out now, which I hate being like that because I am also nervous because obviously everything's going to be crazy. You know, I want to enjoy these last few days, but it's very difficult to enjoy when you are just not being a very good parent and finding everything really difficult. Sebastian's been really good. House feels, I still feel like I've still got stuff to get ready. I still need to buy like ice. I still need to buy snacks for the midwives. I've packed Sebastian's bag, his clothes bag. I was going to do what's in my child's bag, but literally it's just trousers, t-shirts, vests, socks, filling up the whole suitcase. And that's kind of literally it, and his teddy and some dummies, and that's it, and a few toys. Like there's not really a lot. Like my mother-in-law will probably buy him stuff, buy him toys, stuff to entertain him. So I don't know if I'm going to do it. Please like the video if you want to see that, or please comment below if you want to see that. Just quickly do an update on Chris because people have been asking how he's been and what's been happening. Basically, I can't remember what my update was last time, but he went to see the TIA clinic and it turns out he hasn't had a TIA and he hasn't had a stroke, which we're so grateful for. And it was more than likely a thing called a haemophilic migraine, which is almost identical to a stroke. Very common with people who are very tired, prone to migraines, and take chemotherapy. Other than that, he's generally been pretty okay, very tired, but then he's tired at work. Work is making him quite tired. He has got a horrible ulcer in his mouth at the moment, but I think that personally that's the chemotherapy. So you know, that's good, and we have made plans and provisions and stuff in case things like that happen again while we've got the baby. Another thing I wanted to show you is I printed off some affirmation cards. I will leave the links below for these cards. They're basically these really lovely little, they're more like paper slips, and I'm just going to leave them kind of around the house. Some of them are kind of funny, like I read them and I just think, like this one I have to get rid of. Just let go, because that just reminds me of Frozen, and I can't be dealing with singing Frozen in my head while I'm in labour. My body is not broken. Like they are like these positive affirmations, but the thing is I know what I'm like. I thought it was fun to print them out. I just hope that I actually take them on board. You know, when you're in labour, sometimes it's just easy to just lose it. She believed she could, so she did. Just breathe. And this was quite a good one, actually. My surges cannot be stronger than me because they are me, and that's true. You know, just remember your body kind of does know what it's doing. Hopefully, as I'm walking around and being active in labour, I might see them around the house. So that's the plan. Whether it goes to plan, I don't know. I might end up tearing them up in a rage. Next thing I wanted to show you was my birth plan. These, rather than a plan, this is more of like guidelines. I don't believe in doing a plan because anything can happen, but I do have set things that guidelines that can still take place irregardless as to whatever happens, whatever eventuality, be it whether I'm at home or not. I printed this off a thing called Mama Natural. I'll leave again the link in the description bar. It's customizable. This is really good because it's kind of more visual aids that are very straightforward. You know, the doctors and stuff don't necessarily have time to read loads, so it just kind of works out better. I have put here vaginal delivery preferred, water birth preferred, no pain medication, with leniency. Obviously, if I was to be transferred to hospital and I needed forceps, then yes, I probably would like some pain medication at that point. But I will say, and Chris knows that, but if everything's straightforward, no pain medication. Free movement, intermittent monitoring, dim lights, alternative pushing positions, no episiotomy. So one thing we did learn at NCT is that sometimes it's actually easier and better and nicer to just tear naturally rather than to actually be cut. Usually episiotomies can be used during forceps deliveries, and in which case then yes, I would probably agree to it, but I don't want episiotomy. Bassinet only is kind of really what I want. Snacks available to midwives at any time. Wanted them to know that the snacks are there whenever they want them. Maximum support during transition phase. So the transition phase again is a phase that I never actually knew about. So when you start off kind of in the beginning of labour, it's all nice. Then it gets very intense and very painful. But there's kind of longer in between the contractions, and then there's a contraction slightly longer, but it can get quite difficult. Then there's what's called the transition phase, and that's when your contractions get really long and then they dip and then they go really long again and dip and go really long, and it feels like you can't take a breath. It feels like they're getting really intense too quickly and you can't catch your breath. And what's happening is your body's in transition. Your baby's actually coming down into the birth canal with its head right there ready to be born. Once you get over that phase, it actually eases off. It changes then, and you have a kind of period of kind of a bit of calm and peace. Still contractions, but not as bad. And that's the bit when you will start crowning and the baby's head will be born. So that transition phase is the most difficult phase. It's usually the phase when mothers panic, the adrenaline gets rushing, they start asking for... when the adrenaline rushes, it makes it more painful. They start asking for epidurals, they start freaking out. That's the time when I want maximum support to keep myself understanding what's happening to my body. If I can visualise what's actually happening, I can keep going. At least that's the plan. I hope I can keep going. I don't know how it's going to go. If I'm at home, I've got no choice. I can't. There's no anaesthetist here, is there? I have to keep going. So after delivery, this is what I have planned, and this would be the same as to whether I'm at home or not. So placenta to be saved. Now, I haven't actually discussed this with you guys, but I will be consuming my placenta, which probably seems really gross to most of you. Probably get loads of dislikes for this video. I really don't care. I'll talk about that at the end of this video, but I would like my placenta saving. Delayed exams, immediate skin to skin, delayed cord clamping, partner to cut cord, breastfeeding ASAP, partner will bathe in my own time. Delayed examination for bonding, please consult before food and med, and limited visitors. Then it says placenta to be placed in a bag on ice, which will be in a cool bag in the kitchen, or we'll bring the cool bag with us. Delay examinations where necessary unless medical attention is needed and must be done with a parent present. Midwives to check for tongue tie and to support breastfeeding. No formula to be given under any circumstances. No visitors unless parents notified. Third stage, preferably I'd like it as natural as possible. If transferred to hospital, we would like our own room or to be transferred to the midwife-led unit as soon as possible. So the placenta to be saved. Now, if you had asked me with Sebastian, would you ever eat your placenta or consume it or encapsulate it, I would have looked at you and thought you were mental, it's disgusting, no way, vile, gross, it's a body part, yuck. I would have said all those things. Me going through as I've done videos on my postnatal depression, if you want to check them out, I'll leave the links. I had very severe postnatal depression with him that lasted a very long time, and it was so severe that it was just so severe. Harrowing, scary, terrifying. The research shows that it massively reduces the events of postnatal depression in mothers. Thought I'll give it a go. And I don't like the idea of it. I'm not particularly looking forward to it. But I will do anything to prevent going through what I went through. It robbed me of such precious time, and not just that, it was terrifying. If it means eating a placenta to avoid that, then so be it. I feel tired enough as it is, so a lot of people bounce back quite nicely. I'll leave a link in the description bar for a documentary called Childbirth All or Nothing, and it shows 3 different women who had 3 different births, and one of the women there consumed only a little piece, literally this big, of her placenta in a big smoothie, so she couldn't even taste it, and she felt fantastic afterwards. And what have I got to lose? Like, if worst case, I could just hold my nose and glug it down. So that's the plan, and there is very good reasoning for it. Like I said, if I didn't have what I went through with Sebastian, I certainly wouldn't even be considering it, because I wouldn't have researched it, but I have, and I'm willing to give it a go. That's pretty much it for my 38-week update. Some people have asked if I'm going to be vlogging the labour. I don't know. I may vlog the beginning part of it. I think I probably will vlog the beginning part of it and then vlog a bit the next day, but I know what I'm like when the camera's rolling, and I do get very distracted by it, so it may not be something I do, unfortunately. A lot of the channel mums have done it. It's just not really something I think it would really distract me, and I want this to be such an intimate time. I don't want any external distractions. I'll go ahead and show you my bump for 38 weeks, and yeah, that's that. See you guys soon. Bye.